Well, hello everyone. This is Cheryl York coming to you on April the 30th of 2026. This is my second Prophecies Being Fulfilled podcast. I like to keep this one short because I already have the blog, The Prophecies Being Fulfilled, you could visit. And you can see sometimes 20, 24 a day that I post of these things. So much is coming to pass, especially of Julie Green's prophecies. Many of you realize and know that she has been prophesying and the Lord's been speaking through her almost daily for years and years. So I have a lot of prophecies that I find that I've heard her speak. And then, of course, I add Carolyn Davis, I add Hank Kuhneman, Charlie Shamp, Joseph Z., Kirk Vandergook, several different people that, Amanda Grace, if I find them, if I hear that they've come to pass, I put them out there for you so that you know that God is not just speaking through his people. He is performing it as well and bringing it to pass. This is the third great awakening, and we need to get the church, the body of Christ, to wake up and start praying and interceding to turn this huge ship around. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I told you already that I like to use um, my Zapit account because I just think it looks the best out of all of them, out of X. And, I have X, I have True Social, I have, let's think, Telegram and Getter. But I just think that this is the one that looks the best. Now, obviously, the big thing this week already was James Comey. Not only was he indicted, but he has supposedly, all right, been arrested. Now, I didn't see no perp walk. I'm wondering why. I mean, they certainly perp walked everybody in the Biden years and made people stand outside their homes and went through everything in their FBI raids and all that. But so we didn't see a perp walk on this, but James Comey, yeah, so this is the prophecy for this. It says, James Comey, your participation in stolen elections, impeachments, indictments, and the assassination attempts against President Trump, you are still collaborating with John Brennan, and all the evidence you thought you had destroyed wasn't. And you will find out as soon as I take you out. All the people you have murdered and made it look like a suicide or an accident will be proven, that your fingerprints are all over it, and you are guilty of murder and treason. You are part of the setup of January 6th, and now more assassination attempts against my son. You will soon regret. You are a traitor, a murderer, a snake, a deceiver, and justice will hit you like a freight train. You will have no other choice but to surrender. James Comey, your days of freedom are coming to an end. Yesterday, he surrendered. All right. He tried to make a big O stink about it, a big O deal, and threaten and everything, but he ended up surrendering to being arrested. So now this is just the first because I have prophecies from Carolyn Dennis that Brennan is next. So keep your eyes out because things are finally rolling, okay? Right here, literally in that prophecy, it literally said, "You will have no other choice but to surrender." And then the article that I got from the Gateway Pundit yesterday says James Comey under arrest surrenders to law enforcement at the federal courthouse. So now look, we realize that we have, as believers, we have a win, and then things seem to fall apart, and like he was actually indicted before and nothing ever happened with it because they have so many dirty judges and everything that, sometimes they're able to get away with a few things, but it doesn't matter whether this falls apart, and none of that matters. You've got to get to the point where you realize we are seeing prophecies fulfilled, and even if they look like they're getting away with things, it looked like that with the Exodus. It looked like the Pharaoh and his men were coming to get him. I mean, the people were a bunch of babies and said, "Why did you bring us out here to die?" And they did not trust the Lord. I do this for you because I want you to learn to trust the Lord. All right? We are standing right now. See yourself. Close your eyes and see yourself standing, against a wall with millions of people. It wasn't just a couple of hundred people Moses delivered, millions of people. And all of a sudden, you turn and you see Pharaoh and his men with chariots and swords coming to try to take you back. And then God does the impossible. We make light of it. We don't even think it's a big deal anymore. It's like it's not even a miracle. He did the impossible. He literally made the waters part so that the children of Israel, millions of them, could walk through on dry land. The Bible actually uses the word congealed. You know what congealed is? That means that the waters became like jello. They parted like this and they just they were like jello standing there, hardened so that the people could get through. And then once the people got through and Pharaoh and his men went into the waters, the Lord just put it all right back on them. That is what we're living through right now. So stop getting all freaked out and scared and worried every time you hear something negative. There's a lot more good that's going on. All right, now Harvey Weinstein back in the news again. This is apparently an actress. All right, this is Julie Green again. Harvey Weinstein, this name will be in your news. There is so much more to this story. You will hear it all, and all who are connected to him. They tried to hide and bury the truth, but it's coming to an explosive place, my children. The people who are named and this dirty underground world will shock the whole world. I believe it. Harvey is just one of the many connected to the Hollywood elites and the many in your fraudulent government, along with world leaders. It's all coming out and it's all coming to an end, saith the Lord. So I found yesterday, the 29th, a forced threesome and then a rape. Actress Jessica Mann tearfully tells the jury in Harvey Weinstein's New York City trial. So this, I don't even know how many trials Harvey Weinstein. Can you imagine being raped by this guy? Ooh, freaky looking. So Weinstein back in. This was, just a really quick word from Julie. A whale will be in your news for an unusual reason. A barge carrying Timmy the humpback whale begins journey to the North Sea. I mean, look at that. That's interesting. It's a big old barge, but this huge whale is in the middle of it. Let's scroll through some of this stuff. Susie Wiles has been in the news a lot lately. She is um, White House Chief of Staff, but she's also over the Secret Service. And President Trump, keeps having these problems with the Secret Service, with not enough security and everything. Look no further than this lady's face. All right. Nobody wants to believe that this woman is evil, but I'm telling you that Julie Green and Barry Wunsch both, not just Julie. Confirmation came when Barry Wunsch started prophesying as well and having visitations from the Lord that Susie Wiles is not a good person, that she's working for the deep state. The prophecy was simply Pam Bondi will soon be replaced. Well, she has. Susie Wiles will be replaced. That's what we're waiting for. John Thune will be replaced. We need that desperately. He's in the news this week too for rejecting Trump. So pray that this woman is found out and that Donald Trump would see the truth and he would, get her out of there. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sorry, I set an alarm for myself so that I wouldn't sleep through getting this out. More than 2,000 stores are set to close. I mean, we've already got prophecy about stores closing. Then we've got, let me see, let's go ahead. And this is Kirk Vandegook. Let's go ahead and see this one. There is no end to the evil that those who are of the evil one won't try. Kill, steal, and destroy are in full view for everyone to see at this point. Only those who are asleep or under the influence of Satan are not seeing it, or they are participants in the evil. That's a scary prophecy right there. If you see it, if you see what's happening, if you understand that it's evil and you're just laying back and not praying, not interceding, not believing that Trump is trying, working with the Lord to save the United States, then you are a participant in the evil. These are in serious. Oh, okay, no, he's talking about those that are in participant of the evil. These are in serious jeopardy now because in either case they do not have my spirit. Do not call yourself a born again, spirit filled Christian if you're standing with the side of evil against the man that God chose. Anyways, I found several. April 28th, feeding our future ringleader leaked protected documents from jail to minimize her role in fraud scheme. Rep. Comer to Newsmax, the U.S. is in a fraud crisis. Wisconsin ballot system breached. Whistleblower was punished. The whistleblower was the one that was punished in that one. Ernst to Newsmax, Planned Parenthood got $90 million in COVID loans from the Biden White House. Planned Parenthood is falling, guys. All right, we got a Amanda Grace. God's children are still being murdered in Nigeria, and so I went ahead and put that prophecy in here. It actually says ISWAP gunmen kill 29 Christians in Nigeria in one of several attacks this week. You guys, we're looking out in America and we're thinking how horrible it is. These people live with this stuff every day, and they have to stand up every single day to those that want to take them out. This is disgusting. Pray for these precious Christians that are standing in Nigeria. Please pray for them and realize how much better you have it. The violence against Christians in Nigeria has continued without pause through the first 4 months. And that's after Trump went in and made a big deal of the whole thing. It's still going on. He's probably going to have to intervene again. Elon Musk is in the news. He's always in the news, to be honest with you. This was interesting. This is Erica Kirk, and this was actually a word through Diana Larkin. Because the victory draws ever closer, the fierceness and desperation of the evil empire is off the charts in both the natural and supernatural realms. A flood of fake news, disinformation, and fearful tidings has been released. These bad reports are meant to inflame opposition to my plans and purposes in the earth to bring about the victory of the light over the darkness. A lying spirit has gone out into all the world, and those deceived by the darkness eat up and spread the dark, deceptive, and fearful report. This lying spirit has also found an inroad into some voices that have been a part of the light. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, at one time seemed to be MAGA Republicans, seemed to be a part of the light, but they have allowed a measure of pride to creep into their souls, and it has opened them up to being deceived by this lying spirit. This whole campaign by the darkness of fearful reports and lies is meant to weaken the resolve of the army of light, to confuse them. Don't let them confuse you, even if you liked them before. You don't have to follow along. The blind leading the blind. Confuse them and cause them to put their focus in the wrong place. It is the utmost importance that my army of light learn to carefully discern. Ask the Lord for a spirit of discernment. It is a gift. You must be able to discern in these times. My voice, you need to be carefully discern my voice from all others that are now filling the air with so much noise. And then it actually was April 29th. This is Erica Kirk directly calls out Candace Owens for claiming she murdered Charlie. That is something that Candace Owens has been saying. So if you're a Candace Owens follower, hey, my husband and I used to love her many years ago. But I'm telling you, she is gone down the wrong rabbit holes, and now there's a prophecy through Julie Green that it was an inside job. What happened to Charlie will be found out, who was behind it, and that it was an inside job. But that does not mean that it has to be his wife. That does not mean, I mean, that is the mother of his children. He loved her dearly. So for Candace to keep coming out and saying the evil things that she is and trying to destroy this one, I'm sorry, but I just think that she's jealous. I mean, why did she meet a white man, and marry him him within like 4 or 5 weeks? Because she couldn't have Charlie. I believe Candace was in love with Charlie. You can believe differently if you want. Maybe I shouldn't even have mentioned it, but I believe this is all about jealousy and anger, and that is one of the reasons that Candace keeps attacking Erica. All right, Bondi and Noam out, but Bondi is going to have to testify to the House Oversight about the Epstein situation. This is interesting. Kirk Van de Gucht again. Yes, some of those who you suppose to be the elected leaders are really other people. Yes, truly actors. Others are not leaders. They merely act the part but have been compromised through and through. They are acting the part of leader, but they do not lead. They merely follow orders, puppet master orders. They would do anything that they were ordered to do, start wars, murder their own people, even go nuclear. They are sold out totally to evil, and they know it and actually embrace the evil one and have decided to follow, obey the devil's minions in their cabal. So this I found, it's called Bozy Briefs, and he came out. Now I have heard this through Julie Green. I've heard it through Carolyn Dennis. I've heard it through Kook Vandergook, and I believe even Amanda Grace has said some things. She might not be saying that people are wearing masks or that they aren't who they say they are, but I believe she's alluded to it, or the Lord has through her word. But anyway, the faces are fake. I just barely found this guy recently. This guy's from Australia. He's not even from here. Ricardo Bosi on the world leaders who were replaced. He says that they were already replaced. So we've got some crazy stuff going on. Supreme Court has apparently made a couple of good decisions lately, a 9-0 decision delivered, which is pretty amazing for them. Ilhan Omar will not get away with what she has done to this nation. This actually also has Tim Walz. Tim Walz will also be proven guilty for the treason and fraud along with murder. And then on the 25th, the winery belonging to Ilhan Omar's husband shut down amid financial spotlight. Disgusting. April 29th, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz calls ICE agents armed lawless gangs conducting campaign of organized brutality in state of the state address. Well, he apparently did a state of the state address. And then Rep. Tom Emmer rips Walls for claiming credit for Minneapolis raids. So, I mean, we're watching these people fall. Okay, they're not falling exactly like you or I would like them to. They're not being arrested and doing perp walks like you and I would hope. But come on, you can't look back even the last 6 months and not see the changes and stuff that are going on. This was interesting. This was all the way from January of 2023, Julie Green. A bell will be in your news for a significant reason. King Charles gifts Trump a World War II submarine bell. That's interesting. Here's the bell. It actually says Trump on it. I haven't figured out the 1944 on it unless maybe I should have looked it up. Maybe that's when we had World War II. But I do think it's very interesting. John Thune, I told you already. I have warned you about going against this nation. You have dug your feet in and you're continuing to go down this path to destroy this country, but you will soon see every effort of yours be for nothing. You will be arrested. Watch for John Thune to be arrested. You will be found guilty of treason, along with everyone that is working with you will have the same end. Your days as Senate leader are numbered, and you are about to run out of time. My judgment is hitting you, and there is nowhere to hide, says the Lord. And then it says the rhino John Thune stabs America in the back yet again, refuses CBDC ban in any legislation, declares no save America. This is supposed to be the Republican, the head Republican of the Senate. No, save America. He is showing his true colors. He wants nothing to do with anything that Trump is trying to do. Let me see. Calm before the storm. That is Arizona political ballots, drop boxes. That stuff is finally unfolding, and that goes even all the way back to Timothy Dixon has even prophesied that. Then we've got Susie Wiles on the news again. So this was Barry Wunsch. So let's look at this because it's not Julie. This morning, as I was up and about in my kitchen, I had an open vision where I saw Susie Wiles. I knew that she had been sort of acting as a double agent. She was compromised. She is very smooth. She can be like an iron fist in a velvet glove. Of course, we know her main assignment is that as chief of staff for President Trump. But what I saw was that she had opened a back door to work with folks that had other opposing agendas that would impede what President Trump has been called to do. So pray that the Lord would get Susie Wiles out of there. She has opened a social media account, apparently, had like over 280,000 people have already subscribed just by her opening it. There's a lot of people out there that are deceived about her position there. Okay, let's move on to see some of this stuff. Like I said, I don't want to keep this uh, very long. An ambassador is going to be in your news. Expect they are unexpectedly stepping down. Then, if you read more, it says U.S. ambassador to the Ukraine steps down after clashing with Trump. So these things are coming to pass, you guys. Uh, you know, there's is Cash Patel and Dan Bongino and all of this. Dan Bongino claims that the FBI is split between good agents and snakes. And what was this? Let me see in this prophecy. I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah, right here we go. They are desperately trying to sabotage him, which they mean the president, and make him look bad to the president. Okay, they're talking about Kash Patel. So he gets fired, so he can they can run free again without anyone interrupting them and their plans against this country and against their president. But what these snakes do not realize is that I have infiltrators in their midst. That's why I chose this prophecy, because Dan Bongino is no longer working for the FBI, but he says that they are split between good agents and snakes. So that totally fit that prophecy right there. Watergate, this word will be in your news. Everything that is happening right now is way worse than anything that happened back in the days of Watergate. Okay, let's look at this. Carol and Dennis, the days to come are going to heat up with high intensity. They sure have. As more and more exposures are revealed and changes made, the Southern Poverty Law Center is really just the beginning. We are just getting started on the dark exposures and truth being revealed. Everything done in the dark will be exposed in the light, and I'm turning the light on all around you. It is everywhere and has infiltrated all of my seven mountains of influence. No more, I say, no more. I am exposing all the evil. Now, just last week, the Southern Law, they were indicted, apparently, the Southern Poverty Law Center. So they have a double game, funding extremists while spending millions to swing Southern elections. So that was huge when that happened. Okay, the best days are in front of you. Five women sadly were shot. They have random things going on everywhere to try to keep us constantly distracted all of the time. And this is SCOTUS again, blocking something because sometimes SCOTUS does evil on their own. Let me look at this. Uh, This is Charlie Shamp. To America, land of covenant and contention, hear me, O nation, I once crowned with liberty. My voice shakes your mountains and valleys, exposing the strange battles waged in chambers of darkness where the satanic deliberation plots to drain your hope and distort destiny. They craft laws of oppression, toast to policies of death, and feast on systems that bleed the innocent, the blood of the unborn, the cries of the marginalized, and the sweat of the exploited rise to my throne. I will answer. And then this is a picture of an abortion center being demolished after killing babies for 40 years. Demolished. So God's not just shutting doors, He's taking things down. We won't have, He's said, prophecy has said many times that, just like in the days of the Exodus, when Moses said to the people, you will see these people no more. Well, that's what's happening. The Lord is going to make it to where we see these people no more. The evil and the wickedness will be washed away. It may take years. I don't know how long it's going to take for the Lord to do all of this because He's using humans. He's using you. He's using me. We have to be obedient to do what He's asking us to do. And so does our government. We have to keep cleaning all of that out so that we get the right people in there. But my point is, this, think of 20 years from now, nobody will even know what was there. All of your kids will grow up and they'll never even remember that that was there. He's wiping it away, is my point. Minnesota, we already know that they are under huge investigations. Authorities executed 22 search warrants during the operation. And then earlier I read to you, Tim Walz was saying and acting like he was involved. No, he was not. This is something about the Abbey, lightning strike. Honestly, if you just go to um, America Reimagined.faith and click on Prophecies Fulfilled blog, or even Zap it. If you want to look at my Zap it account, all of the links are there. It's very, very easy. The Hilton will be in your news, and then this is the Hilton Hotel's secrets will soon be exposed. This company is not how it appears to be. Their ties to the deep state, their ties to the secret societies will all be exposed. This family will pay for all they've been connected to and the crimes they have committed in the shadows. No person, no company are too big to fail or too big to fall. I am moving my hand and making well-known companies that will collapse, and nothing they will do will stop it, says the Lord. And we all know what happened. I mean, I guess President Reagan was shot in front of the Hilton, I believe. And then now you've got another president that literally went there, to have dinner for the correspondence dinner. And then we have this big shooting there as well. So I'm not going to play the video for you because it's 30 minutes long. Most of you, I'm sure, have already seen it. This is a woman got thrown over the side of a Carnival cruise ship. That's prophecy being fulfilled. There's just so much. I mean, as I scroll through here and everything, this is really good. Diana Larkin again. Some really big, smile really big, sorry, because we are winning. So many evil laws and economy killing restrictions are being wiped away. The evil empire is scrambling in disbelief that they could be losing ground so rapidly and that all their evil are being trumped and discarded. And then I found on the 28th, big news, Virginia Supreme Court denies request from AG to pause order blocking Democrat gerrymandering referendum. And April 28th, 68,000 West Virginia voters switched party affiliations ahead of the primary. 68,000. I mean, come on. They flipped from Democrat to Republican. That is huge, you guys. You've got to understand it. And this was a big one, too. Um, Anthony Fauci is going to be indicted as well. He thinks that he got away with it all because of the Biden uh, pardon, but all of that we have already found out was with the auto pen. That's why he's called the auto pen president. Auto pens cannot give pardons. So that is going to all be turned around on Fauci's head. But this is regarding this guy, one of the top cronies, one of the most destructive political figures in recent memory, has been indicted by President Trump Department of Justice. This was Fauci's second-hand man. So it's coming for Fauci as well. Now, this one is interesting. I'm going to go ahead and end this with this one. This was a Julie Green word, several of them actually. Watch and see what happens to Chuck Schumer. Watch and see what happens to these leaders of the establishment. Watch and see what happens to the Clintons. Watch and see. Watch and see me. Watch and see me move my hand. Watch and see me with great judgment. And then she had another one. Boils and swords are about to appear on your enemies as a sign that judgments are hitting them in every way, saith the Lord. Well, then I found this on the 28th. Senator Chuck Schumer attends press conference with giant bandage on his forehead, claims he ran into a door. Okay? And then Grassley releases FBI file alleging the Clinton Foundation's foreign ties. So both the Clintons and Chuck Schumer were in this, and here he is with a big old band-aid right there on his head and something even down there. Maybe he did run into a door, but the Lord said that some of these people were going to start literally showing up with boils, just like they did in the book of Exodus. So this was James Comey being indicted, but now we know he's been arrested. This is Epstein still going on. You know, there is just so much happening, you guys. So I just want you guys to, like I said, go to americareimagined.faith, and there I have links to my archives, links to my newsletters, a way to subscribe to my newsletter, all of the social media links are there, and even the YouTube channel. You can find, my husband and I have two different YouTube channels that we're downloading things on. Plus, I have Rumble as well, where you can find America Reimagined. And so, anyway, go ahead and check it out. And, like I said, I post a good, mostly on the blog. Now, on social media, I don't post every single one, but on my blog, Prophecies Being Fulfilled blog, I post every single prophecy that I'm able to match news to. Some of them are just in the process of being fulfilled. Some of them actually are coming to pass, so when you read it, make sure you understand that not everything. Sometimes they're even the Lord saying what he's going to do in the future about a certain person or about a certain issue or whatever. And I post those because I like people to know what the Lord is saying. So I really, really appreciate all of you guys so very much for taking the time to, watch me. I think I'm gonna have to get one of those lights or something because it looks like in my glasses, I mean, there's just nothing but light. But anyway, I appreciate all of you guys for coming. This is a very, very busy week for me. My mother's moving, so the next few days I'm going to be busy. So that's why I did this podcast a little bit earlier. I'll still post it in my newsletter on Friday, but it'll be out online even earlier than that. And I will see all of you guys again next week. May the Lord bless you and keep you. He loves you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Bye, everyone.